No one else does it better than the Geeky Geezers, and they've got the mileage and wisdoms to back it up. Ah,
Oh man, well, that's very nice to say. Thank you very much for that.
yeah, that was D Penzek. Thank you. Yeah, yeah. Welcome to Geeky Geezers. I'm your host, Aged Boomer. This is my co-host, PaPa Pacelli. How you doing?
Well, nobody does it better.
All right, Auditor
I
Dread, I
like to
believe.
think so because I put a lot of effort into tonight. I really did.
Auditor Dread, I believe you were first. Who
Yes.
is he? Is that Judge Dredd?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, obviously Auditor Dread.
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go.
So to say, is that Captain Falcon from F-Zero? But never mind. That's Judge Dredd. If Sony does a good job with Spidey 4 like they did with No Way Home, I'll be happy. I actually don't want to involve any MCU elements and focus on Peter's world. I thought what they really could have done, and we're going to talk about Spidey 4 a little bit, but what they really could have done was bring Daredevil back into it because they even had him have a cameo in No Way Home. So I was thinking,
Yeah.
can we finally get a Daredevil Spider-Man team up movie where they go up against Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin? That would have really sold me on a Spider-Man 4. Unfortunately, now we've had the new Daredevil show up in She-Hulk, and
Yeah. Yeah.
apparently they're doing a new Daredevil series as well, which we'll see.
Yeah. Well,
I feel bad because it's got the same actors, but it's not the Netflix Daredevil.
you know, Marvel's falling apart just like everything else is. I mean, check out Valiant Renegade's video from today, which I actually haven't yet. I've got it queued up in my to watch later, but he talks about how it's already failed at the box office, and he knows his stuff. He knows how these things go. He looks at the numbers, you know.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You want like the financial side of things? Check out Valiant Renegade, definitely.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Have a great show, you geezers. Rest in peace to the beautiful Raquel Welch. Yes.
Yeah.
We'll be talking about her in a little bit.
Absolutely, we will.
But yeah. She was on Lois and Clark: The New Adventures of Superman.
Yes. And as I said, I put together this tribute and I didn't even get to the 80s. I only got through the 60s and 70s. She was incredibly influential. Most people probably don't even realize, those people out there that think Jennifer, what's her name, was, the first action hero. Yeah.
Jennifer Lawrence.
Jennifer Lawrence. Yeah, I see. I can't even remember the bitch's name. Sorry, we're not even 15 minutes, and I'm dropping the B word. But yeah, we'll talk about what a trailblazer Raquel Welch was, or I guess I will, because I put together a little slideshow for y'all.
The Critical Drinker's new video about the Marvels. I'm still laughing. I have to watch his videos. I know
he has a way of saying everything and just making it all sound so funny, which is good because otherwise I'd be crying.
Welcome, Rise and Talker. Yeah, I didn't see his video on Ant-Man and the Wasp, but I've seen others. It just sounds like even the critics that normally give Marvel movies a pass, like even the mainstream critics, they're not liking this movie. I've noticed this. They just don't care anymore.
Yeah.
Let's see. Good evening, fellas. Okay. Welcome, Joshua V. And let's see. D Pensec, if I say Matanui, welcome. Zootopia, hello. Connie Cleary, welcome.
I gotta say, what I was telling Aged Boomer back in the green room before we came on, you guys are so encouraging in the chat, and then you come back to the video later and you give more comments, like after you've thought through some of the things we talked about and whatnot. You guys are so damn encouraging. I mean, it really makes us want to come back and do this stuff. You guys really are the stars of the show, not us.
I was the law with financial statements and internal controls. Funny. Don't joke. there probably does something like that exists in the Judge Dredd universe. Okay. Someone please give Marvel some Imodium for the crap they're churning.
Oh, like, right? No doubt. Oh my God.
I just want Deadpool 3. Can I just get Deadpool 3 and it be good? And
see, that's just it. Even when you think something's pretty much a sure thing, right? There's no guarantees.
I don't know. They're burning money. I mean, I want the X-Men, the old Fox X-Men universe to end on a high note. And the trouble was the last one of those we had was that what was it, the Black Phoenix thing that they screwed up for a second
Dark
time in the
Phoenix,
X-Men.
yeah.
Dark Phoenix,
Mm-hmm.
it's terrible, really bad. I wanted to like it too because I cut the 20th Century Fox X-Men movies some slack more than, and some of them were actually really good, like Days of Future Past. I really enjoyed. Did you see that one when it came out?
Was that the last one they did?
No, that was the one with where there's this horrible dark future where the Sentinels are killing
And
all
they
the.
send Wolverine back in
They
time.
send Wolverine back because he's the only one, and it makes sense because he's the immortal one, so they can have his mind transfer into his old body from that period. Do you understand? And
Yeah, it was
so he
supposed to
goes
be
back
Kitty
into the
Pryde, though.
70s. What?
It
I know
was
it's supposed to
be
be
Kitty
Kitty
Pryde,
Pryde.
though.
I know, but
Just saying. I mean, you want to get your representation and your woman power and all that kind of stuff. And then when there's a story to be told that is actually written specifically for a female character, well, let's just put in Hugh Jackman because he sells tickets.
he does. Am I wrong? Hi, sweetie. Thank you,
No,
Annette.
he does. I mean,
And
that's not
hello,
wrong.
love my life to Troy.
Yeah.
Look, I get what you're saying. I don't. Did they even introduce Kitty Pryde into the X-Men movies at that point?
Yeah, but in a very small role.
There was inconsistency there. That might be something
Yeah.
to revisit someday. When you're in the doldrums on how the MCU's turned out, maybe go back and start watching all the old X-Men movies in order and see what they did right and what they did wrong. But at least it wasn't a bunch of woke nonsense back then.
Well, the first appearance of Deadpool.
And X-Men Origins Wolverine has some of the
Yes.
worst CG I've ever seen in a movie.
Yeah, that was terrible.
Like
That
the
was
really
terrible.
awful Patrick Stewart CG.
Wait a minute, guys.
What's wrong?
There's been some worse since then, and it's all been in the MCU. So, yeah, it's all pretty bad. It's just been downhill from there.
I think what they've argued with the MCU is that a lot of the movies, like, they'll have something that looks spectacular and then something else that looks like crap. Like, it goes back and forth with some of those movies. It's
Yeah.
okay. To the Geeky Geezers, Netters Network, and the mods, you all the friendliest bunch I met in the community.
You're awesome, man. Thanks for saying
Deleted
that.
Scenes. Subscribe to Deleted Scenes if you have not already. He is 23 away from 200. We want to get him up there.
That's awesome. That's great. That is great.
I know he has that comic. It's part of a bunch of Deadpool first. I mean, I'm telling you, when you think of the X-Men, though, I mean, I've heard it said that in many respects, the most popular female superheroes in the Marvel Universe do come from the mutant, group of superheroes, right?
Oh, yeah.
And Disney didn't have the rights to them for ages, and now they do. But what are they doing with the X-Men now?
Zippo. Yeah.
I've heard it. They don't even call. Are they even going to call them the X-Men?
Maybe that's why they're avoiding it. They're afraid of the name. They're afraid of the title.
It's just funny in Deadpool 2 when he says X-Men. I always found that kind of sexist. We're the X-Force, and he's full of shit.
Well, just wait, because we've got an article today about Hogwarts Legacy that is just as insipid. Yeah, we'll get to that.
Jennifer Lawrence was all of the X-Men. Well,
yes, she was, and all the women. Yeah, exactly.
She was in those movies, though. Gosh, she had to walk around naked with blue makeup on, so there was that. The X-Persons. Twilight Princess was a masterpiece. Why are we talking about?
I don't even know what that is.
It's Legend of Zelda game. What's going on here? I only play it briefly in the game. We've been craving to play it. Which side we got a remastered copy of this? I don't understand why Nintendo hasn't released that and Wind Waker since they did HD versions on the Wii U. They could very easily just bring them over to the Switch. I don't know what goes on in that company sometimes. People thought they were going to have them ready for I guess the 30th anniversary of Zelda, or the 25th, and it just didn't happen, or whatever anniversary came up. But I don't want to think about how old Legend of Zelda is at this point. But how's your week going, Troy?
Real good. But yeah, Al's right. That's I hate that we have to start with some crappy news, but
Yeah, I want to post the first news article, and then we'll go into sort of a. I
Oh,
want
I
to say
don't
good
even
old
have
days.
my
It's
notes
it's a
open.
like elongated retrospective. As soon as I found out that this actress died, I'm like, okay, this is going to be worth
Actually, if
talking
you
about.
want, I'm ready to go ahead and hit play. It's just
If
I
you're
do want.
ready, go ahead.
Yeah, I
Little up
am.
front, there will be a black screen here for
Yeah,
the listeners' voice.
guys, I literally have been spending all day today editing this together, and up to the moment that I got the link to start the stream tonight, and I was I was exporting it as we were in the green room, and I realized that at the very beginning I didn't have any slides at the beginning, so you're just going to hear me talking over black screen, but it's worth it. And this is like a part one. I'm going to have to do a part two to this. This woman has had an incredible career, and if you've never heard of Raquel Welch and you don't know what she's contributed to entertainment, well, we'll play it. Go ahead and share it.
I'm gonna add to the stream.
Raquel Welch was born Jo Raquel Tejada on September 5th, 1940, in Chicago, Illinois. Her father came from Bolivia and was of Spanish descent. Raquel's mother was of English ancestry. The family moved from Illinois to San Diego, California when Raquel was 2 years old. As a young girl, Raquel had the desire to be a performer and entertainer. A long line of beauty contests eventually led to the state title of Maid of California. Raquel graduated with honors from high school in 1958. Seeking an acting career, she entered San Diego State College on a theater arts scholarship, and the following year she married her high school sweetheart, James Welch. She assumed his last name and kept it throughout her life. In 1960, Raquel got a job as a weather presenter at KFMB, a local San Diego television station. Because her family life and television duties were so demanding, she decided to give up her drama classes. After her separation from James Welch, she moved with her 2 children to Dallas, Texas, where she made a precarious living as a model for Neiman Marcus and as a cocktail waitress. Raquel Welch was born Jo Raquel Tejada on September 5th, 1940, in Chicago, Illinois. Her father came from Bolivia and was a... Okay, obviously there's a mistake here in the what do you call it?
You there? You there?
Let's just get to her movie career. How's that?
Hello?
Home 1964 and the musical Roustabout 1964, an Elvis Presley film. She also landed small roles on television series Bewitched, McHale's Navy, and The Virginian, and appeared on the weekly variety series The Hollywood Palace as a billboard girl and presenter.
Well, I'm sure you know our billboard girl, Raquel Welch.
I certainly do.
Raquel's first featured role was in the beach film A Swim in Summer, 1965. The same year, she won the Deb Star, while her photo the previous October in a Life magazine layout called The End of the Great Girl Drought created quite a buzz. She was strongly considered for the role of Domino in Thunderball and was also noticed by the wife of producer Saul David, who recommended her to 20th Century Fox, where with the help of Curtis, she landed a contract. After screen testing for Saul David's Our Man Flint, she was cast in a leading role in David's sci-fi film Fantastic Voyage, 1966, in which she portrayed a member of a medical team that was miniaturized and injected into the body of an injured scientist with the mission to save his life. Fox loaned Raquel out to Hammer Studios in Britain, where she starred in 1 Million Years BC, 1966. Her only costume was a 2-piece deerskin bikini. She was described as wearing mankind's first bikini, and the fur bikini was described as a definitive look for the 1960s. The New York Times hailed her in its review of the film, a marvelous, breathtaking monument to womankind. One author said, although she had only 3 lines in the film, her luscious figure in a fur bikini made her a star and the dream girl of millions of young moviegoers. A publicity still of her in the bikini became a best-selling poster and turned her into an instant pinup girl. The film raised Raquel's stature as a leading sex symbol of the era. In 2011, Time magazine listed Raquel's BC bikini in the top 10 bikinis in pop culture. In 1966, Raquel starred with Marcello Mastroianni in the Italian film Sparta Forte, Pio Forte, Non Capisco. Shoot loud, louder, I don't understand. For Joseph E. Lavine. The same year she appeared in the film La Fate, The Fairies, which for some reason is called Sex Quartet in the U.S., as Elena in the segment Fata Elena. She was the only American in the cast of the anthology film The Oldest Profession in 1967. In Italy, she also appeared in the heist film for MGM, The Biggest Bundle of Them All, in 1968. It co-starred Edward G. Robinson, who said of Raquel, "I must say she has quite a body. She has been the product of a good publicity campaign. I hope she lives up to it, because a body will only take you so far." Her first starring vehicle, the British Modesty Blaise-style spy film Fathom in 1967, was filmed in Spain for 20th Century Fox. Second unit director Peter Medak said Welch was at that time quite inexperienced, exactly like one of those American drum majorettes, but she tried very hard and went to see the rushes every day, gradually improving. "Who's this dumb broad?" people used to say, but I said, "You wait. I bet she makes it." I liked her very much because she was such a genuine person. And she had a beautiful body, which always helps. Welch said her role was a blow-up Barbie doll. In England, she appeared as Lust Incarnate in the Peter Cook, Dudley Moore comedy Bedazzled in 1967, a swingin' 60s retelling of the Faust legend. It was popular, as was the western Bandolero in 1968, which was shot in Del Rio, Texas, at the Alamo Village. She co-starred with James Stewart and Dean Martin. "I think she'll stack up all right," Stewart said of Welch. In 1968, Welch appeared with Frank Sinatra in the detective film Lady in Cement, a sequel to the film Tony Rome, 1967. She played the socialite Kit Forrest, the romantic interest of Tony Rome. She reportedly was so smitten with Sinatra that she forgot to act. Raquel starred as a freedom fighter in 100 Rifles, a 1969 Western directed by Tom Grease. It also starred Jim Brown, Burt Reynolds, and Fernando Lamas. The film provoked publicity and controversy at the time because it included a love scene between Welch and Brown that breached Hollywood's taboo against on-screen interracial intimacy. The film is remembered for a spectacular shower scene in which Welch distracts the soldiers on a train by taking a shower at a water tower along the tracks. The director, Grease, tried hard to convince Welch to do the scene naked, but she refused. It was one of the many instances Welch resisted going nude on screen and pushed back for years against producers who wanted her to act or pose nude. Welch's most controversial role came in Myra Breckinridge in 1970. She took the role of the film's transsexual heroine in an attempt to be taken seriously as an actress. The production was characterized by animosity between Welch and Mae West, who walked out of the film for 3 days. The film was based on Gore Vidal's controversial bestseller about a man who becomes a woman through surgery. The film's producer, Robert Fryer, stated, "If a man were going to become a woman, he would want to become the most beautiful woman in the world. He would become Raquel Welch." Her looks and fame led Playboy to dub her the most desirable woman of the 1970s. There you go.
Hi.
That's as far as I got, but there's a lot more, and obviously I've had some mistakes, so I gotta go back and clean that up.
Well, no, you're off to a great start, and that's a great tribute to her. Want to go ahead and post the first article about her, and I'll read from it.
Yeah, let me see if I got. I didn't even get my notes open yet. I was so focused on this.
I can post it right now. Here, hold on.
You get the first one. I'll get the rest from here.
I had cut out too. Did you hear me yelling or anything during the video?
I did not hear you yelling. You had, you had dropped out, and I did see you drop out. But then
But
there
apparently
was
the video still played, so that's good.
Oh yeah.
Okay, all right, so that's good. Apparently we got an internet booster and it wasn't boosting, so
Oh,
like my
well, that sucks.
Yeah. So anyway, all right. Raquel Welch, who paved the way as both an actress, international sex symbol, has died at age 82. I'm going to read this. Raquel Welch, who paved the way as both an actress and international sex symbol, has died, TMZ has learned. According to family members, Raquel died this morning after a brief illness. Welch first rose to fame for her back-to-back roles in Fantastic Voyage and 1 Million Years BC, both in 1966. Welch only had a handful of lines in BC. That it was her wardrobe, a simple and skimpy deerskin bikini that catapulted her to sex symbol status. From there, Welch's profile blew up, and she was one of the most sought-after female stars throughout the 60s and 70s, taking home plenty of hardware in the business, including a Golden Globe for Best Motion Picture Actress in a Musical or Comedy for her 1974 role in The Three Musketeers. Welch was named one of the 100 sexiest stars in film history in an issue of Empire magazine in 1995 and was ranked number 3 in Playboy's 100 sexiest stars of the 20th century. She also appeared on The Cher Show in 1975 and performed I'm a Woman with Cher. Raquel was married 4 times in her life: James Welch, Patrick Curtis, Andrew Weinfeld, and Richard Palmer, with 2 kids, Tanhi and Damon Welch. Raquel was 82. So yeah,
if I had more time to continue on, I would have certainly covered her duet with Miss Piggy on the Muppet Show.
It's so funny. Like she was such a name. I mean, I'm even remembering an episode of Boston Legal where I think William Shatner's character Denny Crane was saying, I was reading that book, The Secret, and if you just want something or wish it, it'll come to you, right? So he was wishing for Raquel Welch to show up, right?
Yeah.
And then, of course, this guy shows up at the boardroom and he says, Denny Crane, there's someone here to see you. She a famous actress? Says, oh, yeah. Oh, let her in. And then it's Phyllis Diller. And she goes, I remember him during the war. He was an animal. And then she starts doing her Phyllis Diller laugh. And then he's stunned and doesn't say anything for the rest of the episode. He's just like in shock. But he wanted Raquel Welch. Raquel Welch. I mean, she still showed up in movies later in life too. She was in this wonderful movie with Hector Elizondo. I forget the name of it, but it's like she was trying to woo him. He was a widower, and she was trying to woo him. She was on Lois and Clark: The New Adventures of Superman.
Was.
Yes,
she was. 82 years old. Now, I'm sure she probably had some work done, but man, she looked good for 82.
Oh, sure.
She looked good all her life.
Yeah, and
no doubt about it.
I'm sad to see her go. I mean, but check out her movies. There's a lot of that stuff in there I haven't seen. It looks good. Those Italian movies, I want to check those out. I
will get this. I'll get this damn thing fixed this week, and I'll get it posted before we go live on Friday.
Yeah, check out Troy's channel. I'll have the completed version. I look forward to seeing the finished version. But what did I want?
He did give me the option to postpone it, and I was like, no, I'm going with it as is. I figured I owed you guys. If I put in this much effort, you guys needed to see, she was a visual person. You needed to see her to know what she brought, but she was also an incredible, her acting, it's true. You could see it getting better with each role. I mean, literally I grew up watching her movies all my life, and, so yeah, she was incredibly talented. And,
Raquel Welch in the Stone Age made me say, I'm no Fred Flintstone, but I'll make that bedrock.
Oh, there you go. And yeah, a couple people were talking about how it was that poster I was talking about that featured in Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah, because she was the big I guess she was the it girl of the 60s, right? That was the impression I got.
The 60s, the 70s, and we were still talking about her in the 80s.
We're not allowed to have it girls right now.
Well, and see that's what I'm talking about. I mean, these dumb kids today think, all of this is brand new and they're the first ones to speak out social justice, blah, 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 representation. She was playing a transgendered person, in the early 70s. I mean, there's nothing new under the sun. When you ignore history and overwrite it and purposely forget it, kill it if you have to, you think you're the new kid on the block. No. These battles were all fought and won 2 generations ago, people.
Bush McFadden, you have a good night. Have a good time at work if that's possible. If you can, listen to the stream while you're working.
or catch the rerun later whenever you have a chance.
I remember her on Mork and Mindy. She showed up on Mork and Mindy?
Probably. Would not surprise me. I wouldn't be surprised if she wasn't on an episode of Buck Rogers, too.
She was actually the only villain to get away in CSI Miami. It was funny. Like I said, I think I've said this before. I was watching Space 1999, and I'm watching it, and I'm seeing all these Hammer actors, and I'm thinking, who's a Hammer actress? And like Joan Collins is going to show up on this series, and yes, she did. But Raquel Welch, I guess she showed up more American fare, I guess.
Yeah, but
you
could consider her a Hammer actress too.
Yeah, she was in that 1,000,000 years BC, right?
Yep.
But yeah, no, I'll miss her. But like I said, she leads a great legacy behind. Go check out Voyage. Fantastic Voyage.
Fantastic
right?
Voyage.
Yeah, not Voyage of the Bottom of the Sea. Fantastic Voyage.
A lot of her films,
instead of Ant-Man.
A lot of her films were remade. So like Fantastic Voyage was kind of pastiched with Dennis Quaid and wasn't it Dennis Quaid, Meg Ryan, and Martin Short?
Was it Interspace?
Interspace, something like that. Yeah, and Bedazzled, of course, was remade in the 80s. So yeah, and in fact, if I'm not mistaken, the 1,000,000 Years BC was a remake too, itself. So yeah, I mean. But that's when, if you did a remake, you did at least a decent remake, made it kind of worth it, But that
reminds me of a joke Joe Bob Briggs made about 1,000,000 Years BC.
What's that?
I think he said in one version of it, the women were wearing high heels, and he says, but in reality, women back then probably would have been naked. And he says, but what we really need is to combine the two and get women naked with high heels. Oh, but yeah, no, I mean, Raquel Welch, check out her movies. She will be a cinema icon. I'm trying to think of a modern equivalent would be. Maybe Ana de Armas could be like the modern It Girl, maybe, if they would allow her to be.
Yeah, I can't really think of anyone else in Hollywood today that, because it's not just being gorgeous. Obviously, you got to be gorgeous.
Yeah, it's also about having screen
presence. There's a certain amount. There's definitely that screen presence, and there's a certain amount of class too.
Yeah, and
definitely, that's something that Raquel had, and de Armas has as well. Absolutely, no doubt about it. But
okay, so now we get to talk about miserable stuff.
Miserable Disney. Let's get to it.
We'll end on a. I hate Disney.
I do too.
I don't like talking about them, but then they
I agree.
Relevant to talk about. You have to.
I agree. We are going to really kind of dig into it a little bit here, especially with our third article. But we got to front load a little bit.
Here we go. Disney announces.
I know this is a perfect.
Excited for this.
This is a perfect list.
Disney announces Toy Story 5, Frozen 3, Zootopia 2, and
7,000 layoffs.
That's funny, and this is coming from the AV Club. They're not exactly on the right, but I think that's funny. Zootopia 2. We knew Zootopia 2 was going to happen. I do find it funny how Tron Uprising gets canceled because they're worried about it having a brony-like following, yet they greenlit Zootopia. Never mind.
There is absolutely zero logic to the BS reasons that they give for stuff. They absolutely, it makes zero sense whatever.
Oh, Frozen 3, why?
Just let it go.
No, and what they need to let go is we'll get into Toy Story 5. No one wants it. Did they not learn their lessons after Lightyear?
I have to believe that Toy Story 5 was already well into production by the time.
Okay. So
you got to remember these animated features take years. So this is probably 5-6 years ago. These films were well underway.
Okay. The Dream Factory, known as Disney, is making its dreams of fiscal responsibility a reality by laying off swaths of its workforce and doubling down on sequels. Per Variety, during the company's year-end earnings call this morning, newly returned CEO Bob Iger announced he's cutting 7,000 employees in hopes of finding $5 billion in savings. He also announced that the company would be dumping another round of necessary installments to the Toy Story, Frozen, and Zootopia franchises on our laps. Aside from the depressing news that Disney would once again test fate and make another Toy Story, the company is also bringing Avatar rides and experiences to Disneyland in California. It wasn't a particularly great call for Disney, as the company also announced that Disney Plus lost more than 2.4 million subscribers, mainly from Disney Plus Hotstar, the company's Indian streamer. Apparently, like in the United States, Disney Plus Hotstar subscribers weren't too keen on Lightyear, which explains why Disney's returning to the toy box. Maybe if Disney gives us more Forky, it'll bury the news that Disney is making 7,000 employees redundant. Here's a quote. I have enormous respect and appreciation for the dedication of our employees worldwide, Iger said, mere moments after respecting his employees into unemployment. This is a far cry from 2016 when Mr. Iger posted on Facebook, to Bernie Sanders, we created 11,000 new jobs at Disneyland in the past decade, and our company has created 18,000 in the U.S. in the last 5 years. How many jobs have you created? What have you contributed to the U.S. economy? Sanders had previously criticized Iger's company, asking the audience at an Anaheim campaign rally, anybody make a living wage work for Disney? It's an example of what we're talking about when we talk about a rigged economy. Proving Sanders somewhat correct, Iger's decision to lay off 7,000 workers is strange, considering the company's overall revenue was up 8% last quarter, posting $23.51 billion in revenue. Disney, where the dreams of investors come true. Okay, so this is an AV Club article.
It is.
They're praising Bernie Sanders, but they're not impressed with Iger right now.
Well, and that's the irony, because Disney is schlepping the socialist manifesto around and talking about things about, you know, how people deserve to be able to earn a living, and then they're not actually
is a charged word with a bad rap as an Ant-Man 3.
Yeah, exactly. Great point. They're spouting socialism in Ant-Man, and then they're doing this. They're laying off people. They can't afford, and the people they're keeping, they're not even paying decent wages, and these people are getting ready to strike. So it's like, look, you know, you'd have been better off just getting behind Gordon Gekko and saying greed, for lack of a better word, is good. We make jobs. But we got to make money. So you want to work for us? You're gonna have to produce. You know, coffee's for closers.
Okay. Oh, we are going to get to that Glenn Glary rewatch one of these days. I have my own thoughts on that.
Probably sooner than later. Yeah.
Okay. But okay. So you want to go ahead and post the link, and then you're gonna have to leave for.
Yeah, I'll be back in just.
I'll read from this article.
Sure.
Of course, this article shouldn't be surprising considering what's going on with Roald Dahl, but okay. All right. Disney reportedly permanently bans 2 Don Rosa Uncle Scrooge stories. All right. Disney has reportedly banned 2 of Don Rosa's Scrooge McDuck stories from future reprints and collections. According to a tweet from DuckTales' Twitter account, Rosa received an email explaining 2 of his Scrooge McDuck stories, The Richest Duck in the World and The Dream of a Lifetime, won't be republished or part of any collections moving forward. Duck Talks, a podcast that discusses the latest developments stemming from Disney's DuckTales, later posted The Richest Duck in the World ban may actually be for the Empire Building from Calisoda, which is oftentimes referred to as the richest duck in the world. CBR has reached out to Disney directly for comment on the situation. As part of its ongoing commitment to diversity and inclusion, the Walt Disney Company is in the process of reviewing their library of stories, the message sent to Rosa reads. As a result, some stories that do not align with their values will no longer be published. This applies to 2 of your classic stories, The Richest Duck in the World and The Dream of a Lifetime. These stories will not be part of any reprints or new collections. This is Don Rosa's response. Rosa responded to the situation in Facebook's The Official Don Rosa group, captured in a screenshot posted to CLZ Comics Facebook page. I wonder what other duck stories are now banned, he wrote. Maybe only mine, maybe not, but obviously all 12 chapters of The Life and Times of Scrooge McDuck are now banned because they can't be published without the final chapter. I won't even comment on what this will mean to the collector's market. Published in 1994, the empire builder from Calisota follows Scrooge as he ventures to Africa in an attempt to become the richest person in the world. While there, he encounters Bombi the Zombie, a character who was cursed by a witch doctor named Fulazula. Bombi the Zombie proceeds to chase Scrooge around the world before Scrooge manages to trap him on an island for multiple decades. Scrooge then dreams about Bombi the Zombie in 2002's The Dream of a Lifetime, a story that has widely been compared to Christopher Nolan's Inception, as it sees the Beagle Boys invade Scrooge's dreams to steal his belongings. So, yeah. Oh, you're back.
Oh yeah, I'm back. Yeah, I feel like Peter Falk in Murder by Death. I got to go to the can again. I don't want to miss nothing.
But yeah, I mean, I hate to say this, Disney does own this stuff. I don't agree with their decision here, but
this is why I tell people you got to own physical media. If there's something out there that you love that you'll think you'll ever want to see again, own it physically. Offline, not where it can be taken away and edited on you.
Yeah. It's published in 1994, so this was 94. So this is from 1994, actually.
There you go.
As was 1994 an unenlightened time? I mean, I don't know. I was looking at this comic trying to figure out what they were having a problem with. Exactly. I don't know.
Skipper Kenner comes in and says Murder by Death is a classic. yes it is.
And if Disney owned it, it would never see printing.
Yeah.
I have been terrified by the prospect after Disney bought out 20th Century Fox, not just the fact that they may end up canceling future 20th Century Fox projects at the time, but I was worried they're going to get their hands on that back catalog. And I've known Disney is rather censorious with their own stuff. I mean, how many times do they censor their own old cartoons, like taking Pecos Bill, like he was smoking a cigar? I think it is seen they have to take the cigar out.
Yeah, look at look at Skipper Kenner. Permanent bans. Permanent is a big word, and very transient. I'm guessing permanent will last about a decade or two. Yeah. How long has the ban on what's the movie Splash Mountain was based on?
Song of the South.
Song of the South. How long Song of the South been banned? You're never going to see it released on Blu-ray or 4K or anything like that. Never.
Reminds me of the whole Disney Vault marketing gimmick. You know, this does remind me though of in the early 2000s. Disney was releasing a line of DVDs called Walt Disney Treasures. I bought them all except for the Zorro set, and I think I probably should have gotten the Zorro set in retrospect. But I got mostly all of them, and they were all the old cartoons. Yeah. And Leonard Maltin would have to come on sometimes and apologize for some of the stereotypes of the old cartoons, like of course there's one where Donald is going into the Japanese territory and about all the bad characters, and have to say, well, we were at war. It's often in war, you make fun of your enemy,
I'm getting to the point where I don't have as much of a problem as I had with that whole, warning label at the beginning, the trigger warning, this is of its time, blah, 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 blah. It's like, fine, go ahead, because, the Surgeon General's warning doesn't cause me to enjoy cigarettes less. Not that I'm a cigarette smoker, but you know what I'm saying, Well,
my point is that they still did release these cartoons, though. They weren't where they are now, where it's just now we're just not going to release the stuff at all. They never got around to releasing Song of the South. Many people were hoping they would either put it out as a Walt Disney Treasures movie, or maybe because Walt Disney Treasures DVDs were limited edition. They were for collectors. They weren't for the mainstream.
David Pensack and Skipper Kenner are both talking about owning it, even if you can't get it from Disney. It is possible to get. I do have a Blu-ray copy of it that I've made myself. But yeah, we will definitely be spending more time on this topic this Friday. Believe you me, we will be talking about the cancel culture and going off on a little bit of a drunken rant. And I do mean drunken rant. Both those words are key. So,
well, one thing that I noticed too, I look at, we're going to be talking about a certain famous author whose works are now getting censored, even though he's now deceased. So it's not like he's changing the words himself.
Right.
This is a very slippery slope we're on. It's not going to stop here. It's just going to keep getting out of control. But in the case of this, Disney does own these stories. Unfortunately, it's sad that the guy that wrote them has no say in the matter, because this is a corporate-owned character. So, what's to stop them though from not publishing? I know this has happened with certain Batman stories in DC. Like they weren't going to republish some Batman stories from like the 30s because of stuff like this. So, this historical record gets lost, and you can't go back and
this
examine it.
this is the problem that I see with this concept of destroying history. It literally, you don't want to forget the bad things. You don't want to forget all the uses of the N-word and the nasty, representations of people and all that kind of stuff. That needs to be seen so people can look at it and go, wow, we've come so far. Let's never do that again. But see, that's the problem here. The people that are trying to erase this history, they want to repeat those mistakes. They really do want to divide us again. We're getting too close to being unified and getting along in a melting pot with brotherhood and not judging people by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. We can't have that. What happened to the guy that said that? Think about it. Just think about it, people.
Yeah, 1994 was fun times. Yes, before the places were slurred and Lord reasoning was a bayonet practice and I know. And that's how it is in, how can I put this? The other side was probably worse than we knew in World War II of what they were doing, even when we were portraying them like that.
Yeah.
But
yeah, if anything, we put the stereotype comedy on it, which, this is what you do when you're at war to try to get through a pretty grisly situation.
Yeah.
Try to find a way to laugh. And who are you going to laugh at? You laugh at the enemy because they're the enemy. They're the bad guy. But then it turns out that they were really, really, really bad people over there doing really, really bad things to not only, our soldiers, but, people on the mainland and civilians. And
No, it was horrendous. There was a wonderful thing. There's the wonderful Donald Duck cartoon where he has a dream where he wakes up, and I guess he's in America where Germany and World War II took over, and it's a funny little cartoon, and it actually created a single called "Der Fuhrer's Face." If you've heard of that,
I have. Yes, I've seen it,
and the point is these exist for historical record. We should be able to revisit them. Strikes me as odd that something written in 1994 could be that offensive by today's standards. I was trying to figure out what they were talking about. It seemed like this character was actually kind of sympathetic because he was taken over by a witch doctor.
This
I don't know what the issue is. He's not bad himself.
This will be a little foreshadowing for another article that we've got coming up, but this stuff isn't really offensive. There are people out there that are looking for reasons to be offended. They decide to be offended by twisting things and looking for things that aren't even necessarily there, or that nobody would in their right mind would actually care about.
Yes. But yeah, it's just okay. Time to go to the next one. Oh, YouTube.
Yes, this is where it gets even worse. YouTube is shilling for Disney, and this is just such an upside down world we live in now.
Yeah, YouTube slaps age restriction on Catholic lead documentary exposing Disney's decision to subvert parental rights. Yeah, there was 9/11. The if you're traditional or conservative or something, YouTube doesn't like you. Oddly enough, some channels are left alone though. I wonder why that is. But anyway, the Catholic
and it's even more than that. It's this rally to protect the people that are enthusiasts of the pudding people.
I know what you're saying. The Catholic League for Religious and Civil Rights, the largest Catholic civil rights organization in America, produced a documentary about Disney and its content that is increasingly inappropriate for its target audience, families and children. The documentary Walt's Disenchanted Kingdom was released on multiple platforms. There is one where the film can't be seen without jumping through hoops. The almighty and popular YouTube has thrown a hurdle in the documentary's way and slapped it with an age restriction. No one under 18 can watch. Catholic League CEO and cable news contributor Bill Donahue revealed in a CNN news piece he and his organization were notified on January 31st that their documentary violated the site's community guidelines. YouTube, Donahue wrote, perversely slapped an age restriction on our movie made to alert the public to Disney films that are inappropriate for children and for the company's decision to subvert parental rights. Social media and content giants said Disenchanted Kingdom may not be appropriate for viewers under 18. Donahue and the league appealed but didn't get far. YouTube representatives would turn around later on that same day to reply, "We reviewed your content carefully and have confirmed that it violates our community guidelines." They stuck to their guns but did not specify what guidelines were violated. Categories of age restriction include child safety, drug abuse, nudity, suggestive content, violent graphic content, and vulgarity. We violated none of these standards, Donahue said. However, he added, conveniently, YouTube also has a catch-all standard, one which is so vague and subjective that it can be imposed on any video they personally find objectionable. While the content doesn't violate a policy per se, it could still be deemed inappropriate for underage viewers simply because it may not be. In short, they really only need this one policy, as their more objective measures can simply be disregarded, Donahue observed. He continued, the hypocrisy is stunning. We are trying to protect children from being exploited by those who want to sexually engineer kids grades K through 3, ages 5 to 8, and we are being restricted from getting our message out to the public.
And Auditor Dread says Disney is basically okay with, people that are enthusiasts of the pudding people. And it's more than that. It's more than that. They are actively supporting and pushing the agenda of those people. And a Horizon Talker, yes, YouTube too.
Yeah. It's like I said, some people on that side get upset when books get banned, and then don't get upset when books don't get released on the market. Yeah. Walt's Disenchanted Kingdom is available for the latter, as well as its own website, Amazon Prime, film's own website, and Amazon Prime. 15th feature released January 20th. There comes a disclaimer, includes appearances by Donahue, Dr. Ben Carson, and Miranda Devine. Has Disney lost its way? The synopsis questions experts and insiders analyze the once beloved family-friendly brand's controversial politics and the impact on children and families. I'm curious what Dr. Ben Carson has to say. He was a presidential candidate, wasn't he? A few years back. Brain surgeon, I believe. Yeah. Okay.
Well, I think this world needs a whole lot more brain surgeons to do brainectomies for these morons.
I'll be right back. I have to get a water. It'll take me 2 seconds.
Absolutely. And I'm just trying to be very, very careful as I read your comments and even in the things I'm saying. I get a little hot and I want to just, but I try to be especially careful, when I'm on Boomer's channel. But believe me, we will be picking this conversation up again on Friday. And I will be drinking. So I will probably not censor myself as much as I should. And it's a good thing I'm not a monetized channel, because I would probably lose my monetization this Friday. I don't know if it will actually be Kraken or not, Skipper Kenner, but it will be a thorough saucing. I promise you that.
I'm sure you can catch this video on Rumble if you so choose, and I am also on Rumble if you want to care to subscribe to me there.
Do you think with the change in the YouTube CEO guard, will there be any change? No, I don't. It's the same people running it. Yeah, you're right. It might actually get worse. The only way things are going to change at YouTube or Twitter or any of those places is if the lawmakers in Washington start understanding that this concept of, because they're a private company, they can do whatever they want. That is only true until they become the town square. When they own the town square, there's no such thing as a First Amendment right.
Yeah.
Yes, I understand the First Amendment is only supposed to bind the government from infringing on the First Amendment. But if you as a private citizen own the place that people come together and then infringe, that's when the federal government has to come in and say, yeah, that sounds a little bit like a monopoly. We're going to need you to break up now.
Yeah, and all I know about the new one running YouTube, he's been with the company for a while, so I'm expecting more of the same. If they had brought in an outsider, maybe things would be turning around, but if it's someone internal, and there's no transparency in this.
No, I disagree, Skipper Kenner. The only way they will change how they do things is when it is substantially profitable to do so. That is absolutely wrong. They are making decisions that lose them money. Every time they demonetize a channel, every time they restrict a channel, they are losing money on it because it's not being shown and they're not making the ad revenue off of it. They are purposely losing money to forward an agenda. We see it happening with Disney. We see it happening with YouTube. We see it happening all over the place. It's not always about making money.
We still don't know why Susan stepped down.
Well, we do know. We do. Yeah. She was encouraged to leave.
You know what's funny? She didn't make she made a blog post about it instead of making an actual YouTube video. You would think someone who was running YouTube would make a YouTube video announcing her departure. Yeah. I'm just saying. It's just. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see what the future holds. But like I said, I think it's going to remain. I think it might actually get worse. We'll see.
Oh, there's almost no doubt about it.
I don't know what to expect, to be honest with you, but I prepare for the worst. That's what I'll say. Let's get on to something maybe positive.
Not really Disney, but it is still kind of Marvel. So
it's close enough. They do technically own Spider-Man, but
Sony
owns film
rights.
That is
true.
Sony owns the film rights. Is that correct? That's the difference.
That is, the film and distribution of Spider-Man.
I think if Disney even wants to make a Spider-Man cartoon series, they must. No, they don't. This is very confusing to me. Yeah, who owns Sony must own television as well because they're doing that Amazon deal with the different things from the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
So, Sony owns okay. Tom Holland to return for Spider-Man.
Yeah, this was not a huge surprise. Everyone heard this and goes, "Oh, that was ever a question?"
The post Tom Holland to return to Spider-Man appeared first on the website Consequence. Tom Holland will swing into theaters as Peter Parker once again. Marvel president Kevin Feige has officially confirmed Spider-Man 4, starring the babyface actor, is in the works. I want to interrupt the article here. Starring the babyface actor.
I know
is that a dig?
Maybe, but it's also descriptive. It and it's important to the role, right? Because you need in a role like that, his character is a younger character, so you kind of need an actor who can continue to play a younger character.
Well, true, but at this point, Spider-Man's in college anyway in the MCU. He should be getting older. I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to think back to those.
I agree with you, Boomer.
The original cartoon series, wasn't he a college student? He was a young man at that point, wasn't he? He wasn't a teenager anymore, right?
Well,
I know he started as a teenager, but
I mean, every iteration of Spider-Man tells him at a different point in his history. But if you look at the comics, we've literally seen him go from high school through college to being married, and they've even extended him into the future with having a daughter.
But the Spider-Man I knew from the 80s was an adult,
Unfortunately, Disney doesn't do those stories. They just pick up the story wherever they feel like, and all the stuff before that, well, screw that story, and we're gonna, just jump around and tell whatever story we want to.
Well, let's see what at least Sony has planned, because this is this weird thing where Disney has the rights to Spider-Man inside the MCU, but then Sony can make their own movies. I'm just repeating. Everybody in the chat knows this. Okay.
Wait, Comic characters get retconned regularly. Peter Parker spent more time in college than even I did. Well, some people spend 7 years in college. Yeah, they're called doctors.
It might have taken a little longer than in my college career.
Yeah. That's
Take a little less. Take a few less classes.
Well, he wasn't taking full class loads though, because he needed time to be a photographer and to be a Spider-Man. So he spent a lot of time in college.
Yeah, I think a 5-class course load is too much. I think 4. 4 is manageable. Stay an extra semester. That's my excuse to you youngins out there. And of course, yes, he had a part-time job as Spider-Man.
Yeah.
In a wide-ranging interview with Entertainment Weekly about Marvel's next chapter, Feige said, "All I will say is that we have the story. We have big ideas for that, and our writers are just putting pen to paper now." Holland debuted as Spider-Man in 2016's Captain America Civil War before anchoring his first film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe with 2017's Spider-Man Homecoming. Since then, the actor has portrayed the beloved superhero in several MCU projects and starred in 2 more official Spider-Man films in 2019's Far From Home and 2021's No Way Home. The latter film saw previous Spider-Man Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield reprise the roles and was the first pandemic movie to surpass $1 billion at the worldwide box office. When it arrives, Spider-Man 4 will make Holland the only actor to star in more than 3 official Spider-Man films. Elsewhere in the interview, Feige teased Harrison Ford's new role in Captain America New World Order and confirmed that the embattled new Blade film has finally hit its stride. Our director, Yan Damage, is down in Atlanta right now. He said of the latter, cameras roll in like the next 10 weeks or so. I'm going to interrupt again. I have to tell you, out of all the future Marvel projects, I like to say, oh, this doesn't bother me when they mess up a character. And then if they go after Blade and mess him up, it's going to make me upset.
I mean, everyone's got their one that's important to them.
Blade, I liked James Bond. When you go after James Bond, that upsets me. There's certain things that that Wesley Snipes movie was so good, and I just hate to see them Disneyfying.
I like Skipper Kenner. They have a lot of gold to mine with the character in the MCU and Sony. Let's see how they blow it. Yeah, right.
Okay. Feige also spoke about spacing out the MCU Disney Plus series and putting out.
Are you serious, Auditor Dread?
What?
I have news. The sequel is called Spider-Man One More Day.
Oh no. Oh no.
Please tell me you're bullshitting us.
You know what?
Although the last movie kind of used elements of that storyline, just in a far less offensive way.
Blade should be given the Robert Pattinson vampire treatment. Oh.
I could see Blade going, well, I would kill you, but I'm going to let you sparkle for a while.
I don't hate all vampires. Some are okay. No. What I love about the first Blade movie is it's open season and all vampires. There's no nuance. No, vampires are evil. I'm going to kill them all. Yes, that's what I want to see. And there are also other horrible things in his universe too. That's what I want to see. It was like something out of a pulp story, and I'm upset that Disney's going to mess it up. I was hoping that we'd see a Blade Netflix series to go along with like Daredevil and Jessica Jones. I thought that
would have been good. That would have been good. And that's the other thing too. Some of these characters would lend themselves very, very well to series. They're not doing them. We're getting She-Hulk and Ms. Marvel. I mean,
Feige. Okay, so they're going to space it out. One of those series is Daredevil: Born Again, starring a returning Charlie Cox. Feige provided it as an example of how he wants to experiment with the fun of episodic television, thanks to the talents of Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio, who plays Kingpin, who he described as amazing actors and storytellers in their own right. The latter saw previous Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire, and Andrew. Okay, no, sorry about that. Okay. In other Spider-Man related news, Sony has for a live-action Spider-Man Noir series about a grizzled older man in the 1930s not named Peter Parker. That might actually be good, actually. I might want to see that. Spider-Man Noir? Was that a comic series?
I don't know.
I know that was one of the guys from the Spider-Verse in that animated movie.
I'll tell you what, after one more day, I have not read a Spider-Man comic. I've had nothing to do with it since then. And Auditor Dread's pointing out that he was just joking, but that's Poe's law, man. I mean, these days, you say something really outrageous, could very well be true. That's how effed up this world is.
MCU hurts under the Disney Plus stream. They're unfocused. She-Hulk had potential, but went off the rails with its breaking the wall. Oh yeah, no. I mean, when you break the fourth wall like that, how am I supposed to take any of this seriously?
Yeah,
and what I find funny is that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and the Agent Carter series, I felt were trying to be very accommodating to the movies, right?
Right.
And the movies ignored them.
Yep.
These new Marvel series are in some ways hurting the motion picture universe, and the movies have to acknowledge them. It's like a reverse going on here. So
yeah, it really is. And what's happening though, and I'm hearing this with like Ant-Man, where the big baddie was already introduced in Loki, and a lot of people are going, the ones that did see Loki are like, I don't get it. This isn't the same guy. And people that didn't see Loki are saying, this is the big bad. I don't get this at all. You know.
Well.
Because there's an assumption that you've seen all the shit on Disney Plus, and everyone's going, no, because I can't afford to pay for your stupid streaming service.
Well, I heard the Kang on the Loki series wasn't a villain. He was like they're different Kangs, isn't that what they said? Like there's
there's different Kangs because of multiple universe and whatever, and I don't know.
Nothing has any consequences.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't watch any of this shit. But I'll tell you something else. If you're going to have a streaming service where there is a part of your narrative that is a must see, release the fucker on DVD, you assholes.
Yeah. I have kind of a thing for Peggy Carter. She was badly ignored for her potential.
Yes.
Oh no. I get the appeal, and like I said, she'll be voicing Lara Croft. And typically, I wasn't going to have any interest in that animated Netflix show, but maybe I'll at least give it a look since she's doing the voice. She could have played Lara Croft in a live action.
Right.
She had the
abso-friggin-lutely.
Yeah. But whatever. Saw Loki.
But who did they cast? Did they cast, as I predicted, a black transgendered person?
We don't know who they cast for this new Tomb Raider coming out.
Okay.
We just know that Haley Atwell's voicing it. Like I said, we have two different Tomb Raider projects. I guess Netflix got it first, but now Amazon has rights.
Well, one of them will be black.
I don't know who has the rights to these properties, because there was that Swedish group too that apparently had they own the Crystal Dynamics studio. So how does Amazon have it unless they're working with this game studio? None of this makes any sense.
Yeah, I have no idea.
I'm sure it's all going to be an artistic masterpiece when it comes out, though. If you like Kelly Atwell, though, look for her in the new Mission Impossible. She's going to be in that.
Nice.
Coming out this summer, so there you go, and it'll probably be a good movie. So that's if the track record serves with the rest of them. So okay. Speaking of British stuff,
we eventually had to get to it, right? Okay.
Kelly Atwell's British. She was never in a Harry Potter movie for some reason. Was she? Maybe she was, and I didn't notice because
she was one of like the background kids or something.
Like maybe one of the teachers or students or something. I don't know. Hogwarts Legacy introduces trans character, but fans quickly spot issue with the name. This article I thought was interesting because, as you know, there's a controversy with a certain members of a certain movement. I'm not even saying all the members of that movement, but it did look like the people making the game were kind of doing their own thing behind Rowling's back and still putting a trans woman in the game. But as we see in this article, it's not enough. So here we go. The latest launch in the Harry Potter universe is not a spin-off film or stage show, but a new open-world role-player game. Hogwarts Legacy lets the player become a student at Hogwarts and unlock the mysteries of that hidden world which seems innocent enough when you ignore the wider cultural context that the game has been released into. Many members of the LGBTQ plus community have chosen to boycott the game amidst J.K. Rowling's views on trans women. While Rowling has not had creative input into the game, she will still earn royalties from it.
Yep.
Some players were surprised to find that a trans character had been included in the game and praised the inclusivity, but immediately spotted an issue with her name. The barkeeper for famed pub, the Three Broomsticks, is revealed to be a trans witch as she casually tells the lead character that some of her old classmates took a second to realize I was actually a witch, not a wizard. On the surface, this appears to be some welcome representation for the trans community, but people were quick to point out a major issue with the character's name, Serona Ryan. Thousands of players and non-players alike were quick to point out that the name has Sir at the front, and the last name is a traditional boy's name. Jacqueline Moore, writer and producer for Queer as Folk, said, Serona Ryan is such an insane thing to name the first trans Harry Potter character. They might as well have called her Mysterima David or Boy Bitsa Jerry. Well, a fan added, I'm all for the developers adding a trans character, but why did they have to name her Serona Ryan? Sir Rowan, or yeah, because Sir is okay. This is not the first time the Wizarding World has had issues with insensitively naming diverse characters. Rowling's only East Asian character was named Cho Chang. Cho is a Korean surname, while Chang is a Chinese surname. One tweet at, she could be from a mixed family. You know how Clark was named after Martha's maiden name. That
Sure.
Okay. One tweet said, as a South Korean who always felt grossed out by the name Cho Chang for one East Asian character in that one wizard world, I don't know what I expected going forward in that universe with the new media coming out, but it wasn't effing Serona Ryan for their trans character. Some have defended the name Serona as the name means healing springs and is a Celtic goddess for healing, and put the Sir part down to unfortunate choices. However, others have pointed out that the Irish surname Ryan is commonly thought to mean Little King. I want to say that Ryan is a common last name. This is me.
It is. There's
Serona
actually
is named
a
after a Celtic goddess.
a Disney actress named Debbie Ryan.
Yes.
You know?
And Serona, they're naming the character.
This is what I was talking about when I said these people look for reasons, invent reasons to be pissed off. It is never enough. It is never enough. You need to pick apart somebody's name and say, that would be like saying, oh, that's racist that you have the last name of White or Black. It's my name. It has been for generations, and it has nothing to do with color.
We are talking about fiction, right? Some people don't distinguish the two, distinguish fiction and reality. Yeah. All right. So now we go into the next one.
Yeah, this is one of those longer ones that I got to paste in pieces.
I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I did want to bring up some of the fallout from this. From the game coming out, I did predict this a little while ago. So
the people with brains are starting to say, okay, this has gone a bit too far.
Yeah, so streamer XQC denounces Hogwarts Legacy boycott and streamer harassment, says people fund evil in way worse ways with other purchases. I mean, yeah, if you start picking apart everything you support, you're going to find something wrong with it.
Yeah. Do you use electronics? Do you use things with lithium batteries? Do you have an electric car? You're literally supporting slavery.
Did you ask how that T-shirt was made that you bought at the Disney theme park for Zootopia or whatever? Okay. So Harry Potter author J.K. Rowling has come under fire by pro-transgender activists in recent years. In 2020, she stated biological sex is real. In addition, the author also wrote an opinion piece wherein she noted that such terms as people who menstruate designed to avoid offending transgender people instead denied the female identity. Since then, there have been attempts of boycotting Rowling's works and works inspired by it. That includes Hogwarts Legacy.
Attempts that have not worked at all.
Yes, but they are. But you are under scrutiny for even for even
Dude, you're
playing
under
the game.
scrutiny for having a tallywhacker between your legs. You're under scrutiny for the color of your skin.
Anyway, boycott attempts have included claims the goblins are anti-Semitic caricatures. Wow. Falsely insisting the game's plot revolves around suppressing the oppressed goblins uprising, flooding Steam with false user tags, and accusing the game's male protagonist voice actor of being anti-transgender. Some gaming news websites have even refused to review or write guides for the game. Yes, that has happened. As Hogwarts Legacy continued to climb Steam's global top sellers list, the top seller this week, as of this time of writing, it seems to have taken some drastic measures. Namely, some streamers who gained early access by purchasing special editions of the title are being harassed for playing the game based on a children's book about wizards and magic. A website, Have They Streamed That Wizard Game, was even set up to track those who played the game and is now suspended by its owner. Two streamers who suffered harassment were Matt and Shelby of Streamer Girlfriend Reviews. This was despite their protests of being an LGBT allies and donating money to an LGBT charity during the stream.
It's never enough with these people.
Well, they're fanatics. That's the problem.
Yeah.
And I'm not even saying it's all people from this movement. It's a segment of this movement. Like I said, I'm not.
No, the vast majority of people in that are in that community just want to be fucking left alone. They don't give a shit.
So they both also seem shocked by those they admire turned on them despite the good they'd done. The pair were bombarded with harassing messages by chat members to the point both grew angry and claimed to have not only lost subscribers and endured false reports by Twitch users, but also having already had a target on their back for supporting the LGBT community. Shelby, the girlfriend in question, sounded on the verge of tears when asking if they could take a short break. VTuber, the VTubers that Matchstick was showing you.
That's funny shit, man.
Well, one unfortunately was, of course, Harry Potter is very popular in Japan as well. And
sure.
VTuber Mono Pikami also canceled their stream of the game, later deleting the tweets discussing it. An alleged screenshot shows a tweet of her insisting that playing the game was not indicative of her support of anything. Streamer XQC, Felix Langyo, addressed the outcry in a recent live stream while playing Hogwarts Legacy. As seen in a clip made by a viewer, XQC prefaced, "The way I see it, people are going to hate me for this take, okay, before I go for the jugular. People fund all sorts and types of evil with their purchases across the board in even worse ways than you can imagine. And then you're trying to make everybody feel bad for fucking purchasing a video game," XQC mocked. And then he showed his anger, arguably lowering the tone, concluding, "Bro, you need to effing suck my balls, bitch. Effing libtard handies." Okay, well, I don't know. That might be the response, to get angry and to get mean. That's all you can do.
And you got to stop this apologizing shit. If someone's offended, you don't apologize. You say, "Damn, it's a shame that you're offended. Fuck off. Bye. Don't care. Was never doing this for you anyway."
Yeah, they made girlfriend reviews and VTuber cry for playing a video. Yeah, I know. It's ridiculous. And Matchstick says a VTuber, Silverville, got crap for playing it. I predicted this was going to happen, but they basically, people were almost warning against playing this game. Like, there was threats. Now, again, the trouble with online is everyone's anonymous, so we don't really know who it is. This could be one person posing as 20 people. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, but
and really, what exactly is it that they're doing? It's like they're making mean tweets about them and saying this person's bad. I would just say, too bad. I'm going to keep playing this game. You don't have to come to my stream, or you can, and you can only I mean, I don't know about all streams, but a lot of platforms you can set it so that people can only post if they are paying members and stuff like that. Fine. If you wanna pay to be a member so that you can say nasty shit about me, I'll take your money, no problem. Just like J.K. Rowling will take your money, no problem.
The bully culture that the activists claim to be against, and yet they go and send death threats and doxing people, hypocrites. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. It's all about hypocrisy. It's about inclusion, except for the people we don't like. That's okay to be exclusionary of those people. Let's cover up the history of horrible things that were done to people. But when we do those same horrible things to people, that's okay because they're bad people.
So Reality said, got a Harry Potter game on GameCube. So did I. It was the Chamber of Secrets one. And it's funny because Electronic Arts produced that, and they didn't base it on the movie at that point. It was just based on the book, which means they didn't have to use the likenesses of the actors. They did later on. They started using the actors' likenesses in the games. But it also had a score that wasn't the John Williams score. And I hate to say this, Birdman, I think I like the score to the GameCube game better than the score to the movie. But hopefully he's not listening right now.
I have no opinion because I don't know that that soundtrack. So the game, yeah. I mean,
they're not my favorite soundtracks by John Williams, the Harry Potter soundtracks. But
I'm not even sure I've seen all the Harry Potter movies. I have them all.
Okay.
But for whatever reason, I just never got into them, and I fell asleep during the first couple of them.
All right. Save my more for important things, like when we run out of coffee at work. Yes, well. Or when someone takes...
when you run out of wakey juice, that's sad.
That's what you need to say at work. There's no wakey juice.
Where's the wakey juice?
Is that what the kids say? All right, moving on from one fantasy.
I'm afraid, though, if I were to say wakey juice in public, someone would accuse me of being anti-Semitic because juice has the word Jew in there. That's how stupid these idiots are.
This is basically the equivalent of he looked at me funny.
Yeah.
Like the gym girl saying he glanced in my direction. Yeah, because he probably wanted to know when you were done with the set so he could use the weights.
Yeah. Yeah, you're standing underneath a clock, bitch.
Okay. Anyway, Wizards of the Coast. Okay, now moving from, I'm going to transition. You want to hear my transition?
Yeah.
Moving from one fantasy universe to another.
Yeah. Good. There you go.
This is more in your wheelhouse, right?
It is. I'll have something to say about this, sure.
Yeah. So Wizards of the Coast. Dungeons and Dragons executive Kyle Brink demands white males leave tabletop gaming.
Right there, just like I was saying. It's okay to discriminate against certain people. With these, for them, it's fine. And again, this goes back to what I was saying. Here's a company that doesn't give a fuck about making money, which is clear. We'll see it in the next article. Their company is crashing because of decisions like this.
So, Wizards of the Coast has made several questionable decisions when it comes to their own D&D system for Dungeons and Dragons. Longtime fans of the game have been complaining that the basic elements of D&D, which made the game special, have been stripped from this newest edition. Now, one of the game designers has come out and made an explicitly racist statement that implies he wants white people out of role-playing. In a recent interview on the Three Black Halflings channel, Wizards of the Coast executive producer Kyle Brink gave an interview revealing the designer's bigoted biases. This is not the face of the hobby anymore, Brink said, and I think there's been mistakes made in years past where people assumed that D&D players were all, white dudes in a basement, which has been a faulty assumption for a lot of years and gets more and more false every day. So, in my viewpoint, guys like me can't leave soon enough. Explicitly calling for white males to leave the hobby is a new low for the role-playing company, especially as they constantly tout diversity and inclusivity as one of their core values. An executive calling for an entire race to leave the hobby would be met with an instant firing if this was regards to any other race. But as of this writing, Wizards of the Coast has not made a statement regarding their employees over racism. The comments on the live stream savaged the interview, with one viewer stating, I think their best bet is to stay silent because every time one of their leaders discuss the hobby, they prove how out of touch they are with their customers more and more. YouTuber Diversity in Dragons also spoke out about the situation, voicing his disgust with being told he's not welcome as a customer as Wizards of the Coast. He said in his reaction video, it's certainly racist as proof that Wizards of the Coast does not want the business of what was a large part of their traditional fan base.
Yeah.
So you're a
So,
lifelong D&D player. I don't know if you had a reaction to this or if it's the same as everybody else.
well, in this article, we're losing all the white males, which was, a good chunk of their fan base. In the next article, you'll find that for all of their protestations and inclusion of non-white people, right? They're specifically being exclusionary of anyone who doesn't have a lot of money. So you better not try coming and being a D&D player if you're broke or you're poor. We don't want you either.
Let me see. Diversity and inclusion, yet they exclude gender and race. As a Latino, I wince every time I hear inclusion because I know it's being used for nefarious purposes and never what they claim.
As a Latino, did you know, Auditor Dread, that as a Latino, Hollywood and a lot of these entertainment industries see you as a white person? They lump Latino and Asian in with white people whenever it suits them.
When it's convenient and when it's not. Yeah. I have a question for you, though. The D&D community, have they ever been exclusionary? Have they ever kicked people out based on their background? Has this ever been a thing?
I have been,
to your knowledge,
I have been to many conventions, many, Gen Cons and so forth, and I have never seen anything that would imply they were exclusionary of anyone. I have never seen it being anything but, because remember, this isn't white people, black people, men and women. This is nerds. This is a group of nerds, or it always has been. And nerds are the ones that are used to being the outcasts,
the bullies. So they're not going to try to treat other people.
Yes.
Like
so, and you kind of see it in a lot of the TV shows that involve characters that play D&D, like Stranger Things and whatnot. Right?
What's the same?
They didn't kick out the black kid in Stranger Things. They didn't kick out the girl.
Or sister.
Right.
They're like, welcome, and she kicked butt in that game.
Because you wanted anyone who was willing to play. It's how it always was. But here's the other thing, too. It's a game, which means the community that plays it is your group of friends, whoever they are.
Yes. So anyone can, any group of friends can play it. They can go to conventions. I'm sure there was a zero tolerance policy, but I don't think it was ever even countered anyway. For the most part, I mean, I don't know. I don't know where he's coming from with this. Except, you know what this sounds like? It almost sounds like they want, like they're thinking D&D can become the cool person's hobby, and they can kick the nerds out. It's just a whiff I'm getting from this. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, if that is thing? There's been talk about that among the old time players for a long time. But what it really comes down to is it's not the kind of thing that anyone can take over or gatekeep. As we'll get into with the next article too.
Here we go. Post it. Yeah, let's get into it. This is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
This is a financial institution saying this stuff.
Bank of America. Yep.
And they're not.
I told you. See, we actually reported on this a couple weeks ago, and now they're coming back and doubling down on it. And they're saying, this company's going bankrupt. They need to really turn themselves around really damn fast.
Okay, so we got Bank of America has doubled down on a potential Hasbro stock crash as consumer confidence continues to drop amid very big concerns for both Magic the Gathering and D&D.
Yeah.
Maybe don't have one of your leaders of your organization disparage a playing demographic on a podcast.
You think?
Maybe you could turn into something positive like praise. Yeah, we welcome people from all backgrounds to come and enjoy the game rather than it being let's kick one background out of the game. That could be a tactic you could try. What do you think?
I mean, that makes too much sense.
Okay.
I don't think that would work in this world.
So anyway, Bank of America has doubled down on potential Hasbro stock crash as consumer confidence continues to drop amid very big concerns for both Magic the Gathering and D&D. It wasn't that long ago when Bank of America did a deep dive into Hasbro and more specifically Magic and didn't like what they found. However, with everything in the report and the consumer outcry to things like the OGL, the anniversary proxies and release fatigue, we thought Hasbro would listen. Well, according to Bank of America, they haven't made any changes. So if you haven't heard, a pre-market report from 2022, Bank of America changed their rating of Hasbro stock from buy to a double downgrade of underperforming.
Yep.
A move that caused ripples in the market. However, things don't seem to be looking up. Well, let's start with the most telling quote from Bank of America. The company faces a steep decline in its share price if it continues to destroy customer goodwill. Within its Wizard segment, Hasbro continues to destroy customer goodwill by trying to over monetize its brands. Not only did Bank of America also say Hasbro is over monetizing Magic and D&D, but they also moved down their projected stock once again. We remain especially cautious on Hasbro's Wizards segment, given its over monetization of Magic. Wizards recently tried a similar tactic with D&D proposing changes to its licensing agreement, which led to substantial pushback from the community, including calls to boycott the D&D movie, Bank of America explained.
Yep.
Now Bank of America has Hasbro at $42, which is another 29% downgrade. It really feels like Bank of America has a good grasp of what's happening with the company and how the community continues to push back against the constant issues. Isn't this interesting? Let me continue. As we said before, it doesn't really feel like Hasbro is trying to expand the player base. They are really just trying to get every last dollar out of the existing player base, and people are starting to get fed up. We've talked about the reserve list, 1,000 proxies and more, but maybe the most telling thing recently is the community actually prompted Hasbro to stop the OGL licensing. Obviously, this wasn't missed by Bank of America either. Wizards recently tried a similar tactic with D&D, proposing changes to its licensing agreement, which led to substantial pushback from the community, including calls to boycott the D&D movie. This is directly from Bank of America.
Yep.
Not only did they boycott, but people also stopped their DDB subscriptions. And there was a petition with over 70,000 signatures against the move. While this temporary stopped the move, you should be cautious as they only did this to stop the bottom from falling out. We don't think this will be the end of it, and Bank of America feels the same. However, existing players are starting to get tired of the constant releases. What's happening on the business side and a weak fan engagement doesn't bode well. We'll have to see if Hasbro listens to Bank of America this time or if they continue down the same path.
Yeah. So I've been very vocal about Hasbro on my channel and even over here. This actually, in my opinion, goes well beyond Dungeons and Dragons and Magic the Gathering. But Magic the Gathering is a big one because it really underscores that we want your money. And if you don't have money, we don't want you. In fact, if you don't have $1,000 a pack to drop on us, we're not interested in you. So literally, the whole community of Magic the Gathering just said, fuck it, we're out. If we can't collect these things, get the little bubblegum card, dollar packs to try to find the rare cards or whatever. If we can't do that because they're now $1,000 a piece, we're out. And it's entirely because, it is literally Wizards of the Coast slicing open the goose that laid the golden eggs. They're going, okay, we're selling these cards with rarities about them. People are finding these rare cards and then turning around and reselling them on the secondary market for inflated prices. We're not seeing any of that money, so let's start charging those inflated prices for our cards. And the collecting community said, that's not how it works, asshole. Because the difference is, if I spend $1,000 on a rare card, I consider that card to me to be worth $1,000, and I am willing to part with $1,000 for that card. If I am hoping to get that card in your pack, and it's a bunch of shit that I've already got thousands of copies of, fuck you, Hasbro.
Says Hasbro took a hit with their heavy investment in Star Wars when the well dried up in the sequels and then bypassed kids for a collector's market.
That's... This is one area where I have to be intellectually honest and give a little bit of shelter to Hasbro, because they have a situation. They have their own problems with distribution and stupid decisions of what toys to make, but some of the Star Wars isn't their fault. In order for them to make a Luke Skywalker figure or a Han Solo or whatever, Disney told them they had to make Rey and they had to make Rose Tico and whatever, and they had to ship them in such a way that the Rose Ticos would be bought up with the Han Solos. So if you want to get a Han Solo to sell, you also have to get a Rose Tico as well. And Rose Tico then sits on a peg, and the store goes, well, Star Wars doesn't sell, so I'm not going to buy any more Star Wars toys. And the people that want Han Solo figures can't find them. So this is more a Disney problem than it is a Hasbro problem. Now, that being said, Hasbro has their own distribution problems where they have their stupid HasLab, having a crowd fund because the big multi-million-dollar company can't afford to just fucking make the thing and put it out and sell it. I don't know. It's fucking ridiculous. And then, we won't ship overseas, but we'll ship some things overseas so that the overseas market can't get this thing. But then the American market can't get the thing that was shipped to Britain because that's just how they're fucking doing it. It's fucking ridiculous. And I'm sorry, I missed who it was in the chat that made a point about Hasbro's toys. He said they're made out of a soft plastic. Yeah, they're making them cheaper and cheaper. They're starting to go the NECA route. So you spend $20 on an action figure. Yeah, that's how much some of these action figures are these days. You open the package, and it breaks the figure.
Were they the ones wanting to do the non-see-throughable that you
Yes.
The non-plastic packages.
Yes.
So
they backed off of that. You remember I was complaining about that because they were doing it with Marvel, and I said, look, if they're doing it with Marvel, I don't have a dog in the hunt. But if they do it with the vintage collection Star Wars, that's why a lot of these people buy it. In fact, even the big ones, were saying, look, I buy three of these. I buy one to keep in package, one to open, and one to customize or trade. He says, fuck it. I won't do that anymore.
Oh, I want to say goodnight to Horizon Talker.
Do
you want to go to the next article? It's still Hasbro related.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we'll just keep this train rolling along here.
That means stop this. Watch as the train derails from the track, right?
Yeah. Hasbro's going right through Ohio here.
You know what this is like? This is like the scene in The Swarm when the bee stings. Don't touch it, and he smacks the bee, and the bee's the customer in this case. And
exactly. Hasbro admits misfire. It misfired with D&D OGL and was too aggressive with Magic the Gathering. You fucking think? Who could have seen this coming, huh?
So D&D owner Hasbro has admitted.
Look, let me just say something. It's one thing to say it after the horse has left the barn. It's another thing when people were telling you up front, don't do this. And it's even worse still that there's people making millions of dollars as executives for these companies thinking this was a good idea in the first place. That's like jumping off a building because you think you can fly, asshole. What did you think was going to happen? Did you not know there was such a thing as gravity?
No, I'm telling you, I'm reminded of that scene from the movie Goldeneye. I'm a bit spoiler. One of the villains in it, whenever he does a hack, he goes, I'm invincible. I'm invincible. And he keeps doing that. He keeps saying that each time. And then, we find out at the end he's not so invincible. I'm not going to say how he goes. Okay.
Yeah.
But I think Alan Cummings played him. He was playing this Russian hacker guy. But D&D owner Hasbro has admitted that it misfired on the D&D OGL controversy, but claims it has since seen success by changing tack. There you go, Bank of America. Why don't you pay attention? Announced.
Yeah, and they're making the same argument I did. Why'd you make the mistake in the first place, dumbasses?
Announced during the Hasbro Q4 earning 2022 earnings call, Chief Executive Chris Cox quickly addressed the issue that swept up the Dungeons and Dragons brand and publisher Wizards of the Coast for much of the January this year.
I mean, he's got an appropriate name. I wonder if there's, determinism in that.
We misfired on updating like eating a bag of dicks or something. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We misfired on updating our open game license, a key vehicle for creators to share or commercialize their D&D inspired content. He says, our best practice is to work collaboratively with our community, gather feedback, and build experiences that inspire players and creators alike. It's how we make our games among the best in the industry. We have since course corrected and are delivering a strong outcome for the community and game. This course correction refers to Hasbro completely backing down from the controversial changes at the end of January rather than scrapping the original open game license in favor of a new and more restrictive one. It was revealed we are leaving OGL 1.0A in place as is, untouched. Cox also admits that Hasbro mishandled Wizards' other big name brand, Magic the Gathering. Our growth in Wizards was not without its challenges, says Cox. We were too aggressive in some of our pricing assumptions, notably our 30th anniversary edition of Magic, and pulled back on available supply, impacting Q4 results. However, Cox thinks the future is bright. To be precise, he expects Wizards of the Coast and digital games to be up mid-single digits in terms of profit, one of the only corners of the business to do so. This was certainly true last year, with Wizards of the Coast being one of the few areas to show strong growth in spite of a difficult financial quarter for Hasbro overall that resulted in plans to lay off 1,000 staff.
Yeah, tell that to Bank of America. They're not buying it.
Plans for the long-teased D&D virtual laptop service has also continued unabated. Cox mentioned that it's on track for launch in 2024, claiming we see exciting possibilities in all-new virtual laptop that unlocks new consumer value choices, brings imaginations to life, taps into the scale effects of user-generated content, and creates seamless remote and in-play possibilities across phones, PCs, and tablets with AAA graphics and intuitive controls.
Yeah, so here's another
I can already
thing.
predict what's going to happen. These graphics are so 2 generations ago, and I can't figure out these controls.
No. It's worse than that. They are trying to establish a microtransaction funding for their company with this. This is what they're trying to do with their digital stuff. And the fans are having none of it. They're going, look, Dungeons and Dragons has always been a game where all it required was paper and pencil and dice, and we were set to go. And if you're going to nickel and dime us, we're out. Goodbye. We actually have everything we need to play the game already as is. We don't have to give you any more money.
You know what I would say if I were Wizards Deck? That I would say, okay, well, all the real D&D players will play that tabletop laptop, and you'll just be at a bar sipping down some bourbon, saying, "I used to be a D&D player. It's a tough racket."
Actually,
Glenn Larry Glenn Ross.
The nice thing is that you can actually find people online to play with anytime you want, and it doesn't have to be D&D. It's like I want to play a D&D, but I don't want to use D&D rules. Anyone in playing Pathfinder? Oh, I play Pathfinder. I play Pathfinder. Sure, okay, let's go.
You have to play it on the specific. What is this virtual laptop? Is this the thing you buy? Or is this
yes, you have to pay. It's a program that you have to pay for. Actually, all the players would have to pay for their own instance of it. It would be like
I thought it would be like an actual electronic board you could buy for your table or something, but that's not.
What it is it's it would be like if you and I were playing a Steam game together, except it's D&D, and you have a virtual tabletop, and you have virtual miniatures and so on and so forth,
which will cost twice as much as real life miniatures.
Which there are free or almost no cost versions of that out there that people have been using since the pandemic. It's actually how I play on Wednesdays. I am not going to start a subscription service to D&D Wizards of the Coast to do that.
To be fair, I have the Hangman board game.
Yeah. I've seen that. Yeah. That's actually pretty cool.
I bet Hangman has been banned in elementary schools. Did you ever play Hangman in elementary school?
Well, I mean, like the drawing on a piece of paper type of.
We used to draw doing on the
yeah.
chalkboard at my elementary school. Like during the last days before school ended, we would play a Hangman game. I think the teacher figured it was okay. Well, they'll learn words, But okay, good to know. So yeah. I don't think they know who their audience is.
Yeah, unfortunately, they have been too arrogant to care. They've been of the opinion that, like so many people in Hollywood, they will consume what we tell them to consume. And the consumers are going, no, we won't.
So a lot's going to be hanging on this virtual tabletop thing. Also, a lot's hanging probably on the D&D movie coming out, right? Both Chris Pratt and
I think that's gonna Chris Pine.
Chris
Pine. He's not as big a draw as Chris Pratt. If they had Chris Pratt, there might actually be hope for this movie.
They should have hired Ryan Reynolds for the D&D movie. That might have been interesting.
No. I disagree. As much as I like Ryan Reynolds, not for a D&D movie.
Okay, I got you. You probably want to
see what I'm saying? Yeah.
You wanted something a little more serious and not like a comedy, which looks like they're going after the MCU money with the.
Yeah, they already tried to do that with Marlon Wayans. No.
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
Yeah, see? Okay.
That should be good old days. We talked about the D&D movie, but I never actually watched it, so I can't comment on it.
Maybe
I avoided it like the plague.
Maybe I'll have to buckle down and actually do a watch party of it then. I don't know. We'll see. But
I saw some of the made for Sci-Fi Channel sequels to
it. Wonderful.
All right, let's go to the next story. Come on. No transition.
This might actually be some good news, maybe.
We'll see. I'm not sure exactly. There were some things that kind of, I don't know. Along with a contemporary rendition of 1978's Grease eponymous opening number and a sweet snippet of a brand new song, the latest trailer for Grease Rise of the Pink Ladies paved the road to nostalgia as the Rydell High students sing, dance, and rebel in the jam-packed video. Annabelle Oakes, known for her writing in Atypical, Angel from Hell, and most recently Minx, is the creator and showrunner. Moreover, as disclosed by Paramount Plus, it will take place in 1954, 4 years prior to the events of Grease, with the production details all out and the release date closing in. The hopelessly devoted fans couldn't be more thrilled to see what's in store for the newest edition of the beloved franchise.
Wait, so this is a prequel to Grease?
Yes.
Oh, this is going to be shit.
See, you were all excited at first. You thought it was going to be they were doing Grease as a television series.
No, I actually was thinking this might be like
school?
The following years, after, like either taking the story of Grease 2 and turning it into a series, or after that,
No, it's a prequel.
Oh, fuck.
When in doubt, make a prequel.
So they're going to necessarily have to use the same characters in their freshman year. We get to see them become who they're going to be, but we already know where it's going, so there's no surprise. And if they deviate, everyone will be pissed. That's the problem with prequels.
As the title and trailer suggests, this highly anticipated series focuses on the origin of the Pink Ladies, where four misfits assemble, create moral panic around the school, and establish an all-girls clique that would wield considerable repute in the future. One thing to note, the girls in question are not the ones from the Grease films. Neither is the first nor the second one. They're Olivia, Cheyenne Isabel Wells, Nancy, Tricia Fukuhara, Jane, Marissa Davila, and Cynthia Ari Notar Tommaso. Each one a distinctive individual that make for an interesting bunch when put together. Aside from the chemistry of the leading ladies and the introduction of catchy original songs, Fans have other expectations they'd like to see in this 1950s vintage theme prequel. Judging from the trailer and cast list, it is evident that the show takes diversity and inclusion genuinely. Out of the main four, Olivia and Nancy aren't of Caucasian ancestry, and so are a few other fellow students, namely
You
Richie.
notice by focusing on this, they're telling you what's important to them.
Yeah,
in other words, shit that nobody cares about is all they're going to focus on, and story. Who gives a shit about that?
Okay.
By the way, Surreality says, "Cheers, guys. Blessings from England." It is either very late where you are or very early, depending on your perspective.
Oh,
but
you're welcome
I
on the stream
appreciate you
anytime.
being here.
In the chat. Namely Richie, Jonathan Neves, Wally, Maxwell Whittington Cooper, and Hazel Chanel Bailey. Next, there's Cynthia, a white girl with macho preferences, the most prominent of which is visible from her dancing at the auto body shop with the boys. She, too, was briefly shown leaning in for a kiss with a girl, most likely to hint
I'm
at
done.
queer identity.
I'm done. There is no way in the 1950s this was happening. I'm sorry. It's no.
Okay.
And again, here's another. What the fuck is wrong with being a tomboy? You're not allowed to be a tomboy. You can't be a girl who works on cars, who likes masculine things, but also likes guys. Fuck it. I'm out. I'm done. This another one that's not made for me. I'm already queuing up the next article.
Okay. Well, so yeah. Apparently that's going to be on Paramount Plus. Should any of you be interested? Here's the issue. Even on British shows that deal with this stuff, and they'll do. I'm not going to say they left this talking points, but they'll at least try to make it period accurate with what was going on at the time.
Well, unless they replace Queen Victoria with a black woman or something like that.
Well, we'll see.
I'm sorry, Queen Elizabeth. My apologies.
Okay, wait a minute.
What?
Okay, Nick Fury. There was an idea, Rizzo knows this, called the Pink Ladies, the idea to bring together a group to see if they could work together to fight the battles that we never could.
Oh God.
Okay.
That does sound like a Nick Fury kind of.
But it also doesn't address the fact that in this fictional Greece thing, why is this diverse, but then it's not diverse in the movie?
Yeah, apparently there was some sort of an apartheid before the movie and the musical.
Wouldn't it have made more sense to have it take place in a modern high school? And
this is what I'm talking about.
This group of girls is obsessed with the movie Grease and wants to bring back the 1950s aesthetics and stuff.
That actually sounds like a good idea.
You can have your bring in the modern stuff there. That would be more likely to happen now.
And again, they want to pretend that all of history was beautiful. We never had slavery. We never had segregation. We never had racial problems in this country. We were always wonderful. But now, for some reason, all white people are evil. How do you reconcile those two things? I don't know.
All right.
So when you sent me this article, I was so confused. I swear to you, I thought, because I remember a couple of years ago, there was a fan trailer for a Tetris movie that was like these neon blocks coming out of the sky and crushing the city.
Yes.
And it was a parody, right, of making video game movies. And when you sent me this, I'm like, oh, are you serious? Someone's taking this seriously? And then you said, no, this is real. And I'm like, someone's really making a Tetris movie? And I was picturing, the blocks falling from the sky. Totally misunderstood until I saw the trailer.
Interesting. Oh, by the way, you probably didn't have a chance to watch because you're busy. I sent you another fake trailer. This one's for Titanic 2, Jack's Back. They rescue him from his frozen watery grave and bring him back to life.
Oh, this might be one that I've already seen, actually.
And then it's like it's modern times, and like they say, "Oh, Rose has been waiting for you, but she died last night." I think because she was an old woman at that point.
Yeah. I've seen this before. Yeah, it's about 3 years old. Yeah, I've seen it.
I could see
it's
Hollywood
actually
making that.
really good. And another one. I think I posted it on the Star Wars group on MeWe. Somebody used Unreal Engine to do a fan film of two rebels that were in Snowspeeder that crashed, and they're trying to get back to the Echo base before all the transports take off, and they run into two snowtroopers that were their AT-AT was shot down, and they're trying to get back to their troops.
Wouldn't that be an interesting idea for a movie? Making a Star Wars movie that focused on, the whole war thing.
yeah, I know.
I guess the closest we got was Rogue One to that, but I don't know. Okay.
I don't know. I mean, the Clone Wars cartoon series was actually pretty good.
Right. Well, I'm sure
just a much lighter version of it. They
end up tackling a lot of things on cartoon shows. But...
Yeah.
Okay. Apple's Tetris movie lines up real history with a retro thriller. What?
I know.
The Tetris movie that's been in the works for almost a decade is actually happening, and Apple has finally unveiled an official trailer ahead of the South by Southwest premiere. This upcoming Apple Original Films blockbuster, that's the author making joke, is based on a true story starring Taron Egerton as Hank Rogers, a Dutch entrepreneur who becomes so enamored with the titular game that he travels to the Soviet Union during the end of the Cold War in order to secure its distribution rights. There he encounters the game's inventor, Alexei Pachitnov, portrayed by a good man's Nikita Efremov, and villainous KGB agents, all while navigating the increasing tensions between the Soviet government and the West. It's certainly a different approach from previous films we've seen inspired by retro video games. I'm looking at you, Pixels, but I'm not sure anyone had the Tetris movie is a Cold War spy thriller on their 2023 bingo card.
But this is a great example of history has good stories to tell.
It does, yeah. I mean, I've heard this story that getting the rights to Tetris was very complicated. And everybody wanted the rights to Tetris. This was I don't know if they'll tackle this in the movie, but apparently Sega had a version, Atari had a version, but Nintendo were the only ones that really had the rights.
Yeah.
Maybe Atari had arcade rights to it, and maybe Sega had arcade rights only in Japan to Tetris. And then and then Atari made an NES cartridge, which was illegal, and they could, it was this whole big thing. Yeah. But Tetris directed by John S. Bard, Stan Ali, and produced by Matthew Vaughn. And we could expect a Tetris to span a trilogy of movies, but this is no longer appears. Don't make a trilogy of Tetris movies. Come on.
Yeah, no, absolutely not.
Tetris will be available to stream globally via Apple TV Plus on March 31st. Unfortunately, some of the best movies come to Apple TV Plus, and that's the only place they're available.
Well, and you know what? The entertainment industry needs to learn that if you strike something good like this, it doesn't need a sequel. It needs you to understand the formula and do another thing. So you tell this story. This is a one and done story about how Tetris started and got going. Now that story's done. Now go find another interesting historical story to tell,
like a game related stories or something. Like you could do one on Donkey Kong. You could do one on Donkey Kong.
Sure, and because as Mr. Magic says, as a history fan, history is nothing but good stories.
You could do
you could make an anthology series focusing on the creation of different games. Sure,
they could do a story on Nolan Bushnell.
It doesn't even always have to be a, in quotes, spy thriller like this Tetris one.
Yeah.
I mean, there's plenty of people that have hocked their homes and, almost lost everything trying to make a game happen.
Oh, sure. There's a lot of stories.
Those are good stories.
And But yeah, it's funny. Tetris, of course. Maybe we should do a mini good old days. You're familiar with the game? I take it.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. I've even seen a YouTube. I guess you could consider it a documentary about uh like one of the best. It was about guys that compete in Tetris tournaments.
Yes, Tetris tournaments. Yeah, that's a thing.
And there was this one guy who was like one of the best, and he made a critical error, actually a series of critical errors that got him thrown out at like right at the beginning. And later on in the tournament, he was able to turn around, but it was humiliating for him. It was just, yeah. It's just one of those things, he just made one bad call. And then in order to fix it, you could see by watching the game over again, his thought pattern, and he didn't get the piece he needed. And then when he made a different decision, it was too late. And, the whole thing fell apart. Yeah.
It could lead to the Tetris Awakens, the last Tetris, and the rise of the Tetris. I know it could be the rise of the Tetrism.
Yeah.
that was on the old Nintendo commercial for Tetris.
Well, by the time you get to the last Tetris, you find out that all the people that have been playing Tetris are bad people, and they need to be cast out. But then nobody else wants to come in and play Tetris anymore, so the company goes bankrupt.
Yeah, funny. I got a kick out of the trailer though. It's obviously showing the real life history of Nintendo at the time. Nintendo was huge. They were dominating the console market. And there's a scene at the very end of the trailer where you see this older Japanese fellow, and
yes,
and he says not to bad. And that, I know that's supposed to be Yamauchi, the president of Nintendo, who's this. He was an intimidating figure, to put it lightly.
Yeah.
He didn't like games himself. He just knew what would sell.
Yeah.
And like apparently his family goes back to Japan generations. Like, and his house was apparently the house owned by his family home was owned by a former physician to the Emperor of Japan at one point in history. I mean,
wow.
It's just fascinating. And you can actually find a lot about this story there's a book called Game Over. It was about the book Game Over was fascinating because it shows this little kid being absorbed by this TV screen. It's like how Nintendo took over an industry and destroyed your children. It's a tongue-in-cheek thing to get you to buy the book. It's really just about the history of Atari's fall, Nintendo's rise. That's basically what it is. It's a fascinating real history book. It shows how the Japanese got introduced to the role-playing video game, because they never even heard of a role-playing game until this guy who was the son of I think he was a computer programmer that was the son of a Japanese ambassador, was going around to Japanese game companies saying, look, you need to make this, there's this thing called D&D over there. Let's make this game called Black Onyx for computers. And it sold very well. And then they did a follow-up to it, and it was called Dragon Quest. The rest is history. You may know of Dragon Quest, right?
Yeah.
It's very popular, also known as Dragon Warrior for a while over here. But no, there's a lot of stories you can do about games, and this one's fascinating because it does involve the whole Soviet Cold War intrigue, and I find Cold War stories fascinating. So I'm definitely going to check this out. And I had a Game Boy. A lot of kids had a Game Boy growing up, and I had Tetris for it because it was the pack-in game. And all the girls love Tetris. If I'm going to make a sexist comment there, maybe not.
I mean, I don't know. Is that true?
Back in the 80s, listen to me. I'm sorry. It's great that all these women play games now, and good for you. I'm telling you, back in the 80s, it was rare when you'd run to a girl that played video games, but they would play Tetris. That was the one they would always be glued to.
Oh, there you go. Okay, interesting. Yeah.
Sounds better than Tetris the Motion Picture. Funny, I called it that, and I called it Tetris the movie. That's right. It's like,
yeah,
it sounds like the worst idea when I heard they were doing a Tetris movie. No, but now they're doing it about the making of a game, and I've argued they've done movies about great musicians and other things. I think doing a movie about one of the most influential games of all time, that might be something worth watching. We'll see. I'm curious.
Skipper Kenner says auditor. Wait, where did it go? The chat jumped and I didn't see.
Oh, Skipper Kenner, what is it? How is it these movies are being made but can't get
that he can't? Yeah, no. There was a comment about not getting any chicks because of Tetris. I don't know what happened to it.
I'm trying to find it now.
Tetris did not. Oh yeah, Skipper Catter, the last one. Tetris did not score me any chicks in the 80s. Well, that's why you had to work on your personality.
No. It's not gonna. It didn't score you chicks. It's just that they'll steal your Game Boy right from you and run off with it. And then,
well, yeah, there you go.
And what are you gonna do? You're gonna say no, you can't. It's like,
yeah, you absolutely. Well, see, you got to learn the life lessons. You go, you want my Game Boy? What are you gonna do for it? You know.
This was in middle school. I remember I had Operation C for the Game Boy, and you want to play Tetris. That's Contra. That's the Game Boy version of Contra.
Yeah,
which was pretty good. And I want to play Tetris. Tetris actually worked very well with the Game Boy because the Game Boy had a very simple. Yeah. It only had four shades of gray or green, depending on the model you had, right? And you can't do a lot with those graphics,
right?
But you can do puzzle games very easily with those kind of graphics.
Yeah, and for whatever reason, it was the controllers on there actually responded, just like the big games. So yeah, at least you had that.
Tetris is fascinating because there were all these different versions of it. Though there was there a version for PCs, if memory serves,
for Tetris? Yeah, absolutely.
Because I remember in high school someone had it playing on a computer, but it wasn't the Nintendo version. So maybe computer rights went to somebody else. Nintendo had home console rights and portable rights. So
I got to be honest with you, you're taxing my memory here, so I can't remember if it was a license thing or not.
And like I said, Atari made Tengen, that company I brought up. Remember a few weeks back we were talking about Gauntlet. Tengen made a Tengen Tetris for the NES. And Nintendo said, "What are you doing? We own the rights." And then some judge looked at it and says, "No, you only have the arcade rights. You don't have console rights. Take that cartridge off the market right now." Wow. And apparently a lot were recalled. It's a very rare game now. I don't know how rare it is, but. And then Sega had a version of Tetris made for the Sega Genesis, which apparently was based on the arcade version. It's like, no, you do not have the rights to release Tetris on the Genesis. Get that. And that's even rarer. There were like 5 copies of that made, I think. I think as a bonus, they included that on the Sega Genesis Mini that came out. Here's your bonus game, the Tetris game you never got. So you get to play the Tetris game on the Sega Genesis that you never got a chance to play. And guess what? It's a terrible edition of Tetris. It has awful music. I can't stand it. Anyway, that's all.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have to say the music on Tetris made it. So there you go. You got a little bit of a good old days there. I'm trying to think though. I guess that's the last article, isn't it?
That's the last article we got.
No.
Oh, not that there isn't way more to say, but we'll pick it up again on Friday when we talk about.
I don't work tomorrow. I have off because I'm a government worker.
Well, congratulations!
And it's President's Day where we get to celebrate
a bunch of old white people that we need to forget about.
Remember what was Lincoln's and Washington's birthday?
Yeah.
Anyway, that's how old we are. We remember that time.
Yeah, we actually we had 2 separate days.
One for Lincoln and one for Washington.
And in your art class, you'd be doing like the what do you call it, the profile pictures of Lincoln and Washington.
I'm trying to remember if we did those or not. I don't remember. It's funny. I have a funny story to tell you about art class. You want to hear it real quick before I end the show?
It's your stream. I mean, you can talk about anything you want. I'm just saying,
I don't want to keep you if you have things.
No.
Okay. All right. Not all government workers are off tomorrow. I'm sorry, Auditor Dredd, but you're doing good work for us. Sorry. What did I want to mention to you? Okay, this is what I wanted to say. So when we had an art teacher in elementary school, right? And he says, we're going to do ceramics now. You can make anything, but you can't make a baseball out of ceramics. And I didn't understand what he's talking about, why we can't do a baseball. Like, people like to make like a little ceramic baseball and put holes in it and be a pencil holder, right?
Okay.
Put it on your desk. He said, nothing like that. So, okay, I shrugged my shoulders. I think I made a dinosaur.
Okay.
And then I find out my next door neighbor told me this story. And he was a couple years older than I was, right? So he told me the story about, when I was in that art class, this is when he was at elementary school. when I was in that art class, I made this ceramic baseball, right? And I was like, I left the class and like, I don't want this piece of junk anymore. And he threw it. And it hit a car windshield and cracked it in the parking lot. And then he ran off.
And that's why the rule exists?
Yes. Oh, I put two and two together right there. Oh, that's why. And he never got caught for it either. I'm like,
oh my God. I'll bet it was the teacher's car.
It might have been the art teacher's car, if memory serves. Yeah. And it's just,
holy crap. That's just crazy.
Boosh McFadden, you're back, but we're going. I'm sorry, I'll have to listen to the shroom. We just talked about Tetris the movie coming to Apple TV Plus. You know, I will say this for Apple: what they lack for in quantity, they make up for in quality. You know, the movie with Tom Hanks and the robot that Robert Zemeckis did, that was actually pretty decent. That was a good film.
Yeah, but,
mean, like I said, I've liked their Foundation series so far. We'll see how it ends up with season 2, but I'm not really sure what Apple's strategy. I guess they're playing the long game. That's the only thing that makes sense. Maybe they figure over time we'll have enough original stuff that's exclusive just to this platform that people will have to buy it. Right?
There you go. Yeah.
Like I said, they had the latest John Lasseter animated movie since he left Pixar. It's an Apple TV Plus exclusive too. Okay, I had to go set up a promo. Okay, well, welcome back. But once I'm ready, Skipper Kenner's comment. I'm sorry.
Once you remove the give a fuck from the equation, you can accomplish anything. That's true. That is true.
So what you got coming up this week?
So we don't have anything Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, do we?
I don't think I have a bourbon.
There's no Birdman.
I got to text him. See what's going on with that.
Is Mr. Magic, you still here? Do we have anything going on Tuesday?
I don't think he has.
Let us know.
This week.
Let us know. But if you know what, you should. Yeah, I'm here. Hello.
Give me a second. My internet's messed up. Hold on.
Okay, well, I'll just continue on. Mr. Matchstick, you literally just dropped a comment a little while ago. I am going to grab your your link, so make sure that everybody is subscribed to Mr. Matchstick. Even though we don't necessarily have anything going on this Tuesday, oftentimes Age of Boomer and myself will guest on his channel for some interesting topics.
All right,
last
he's doing a Gundam UC show on the 20th.
Okay. So on the 20th, so you know, if you're into Gundam, make sure that you're there for that. It ought to be really good. So that's a upcoming Tuesday, not this particular coming Tuesday. So I have nothing on my docket until Thursday. I will be over on no, not Pacific 414. I was just on Pacific 414. Give me a second. I gotta check my my message. I'm on somebody's channel on Thursday. I'm gonna be guesting.
On someone's channel?
On someone's channel, yeah. Brandon the Anime Guy. Yes. Brandon the Anime Guy, who was on with me towards the end of last year over on my channel. Well, he's having me on his channel.
What are you gonna talk
this
about?
Thursday. Probably something anime related.
Maybe Speed Racer, because that's about as far as you go.
That's about all I know, right? Exactly. You're exactly right. So make sure that you subscribe to Brandon the Anime Guy, and come hang out with us and see what see how I embarrass myself with my lack of knowledge about anime.
All right. So,
but then that brings us back to
Friday.
Friday
might be heated.
Friday will be absolutely heated. But see, that's where alcohol is, for lack of a better word, a good thing, right? Because it'll mellow me out. It'll kind of balance me out. But I will be drinking, as I do every Friday night, and I will be ranting about cancel culture. This is a topic that I know that Age of Boomer has a lot to say about, and I will be having back one of my favorite Blue Wrenches, who's in here dropping the links as we speak, Steven Deleted Scenes Otten. He reached out to me and said, hey, do you have a guest for the next one? And this was after he heard what the topic was going to be. So I said, if you're interested, we'll by all means. So that's who's going to be doing the ranting.
And Saturday, that's a Big Al Presents, right?
Saturday we'll be over on Big Al Presents. We will be doing a watch party of Logan's Run, Jenny Agutter, and some other people.
Yes. And that will bring us back to next week's Geeky Geezers.
Yeah.
Night, guys. Yeah, good night. And
yeah, thanks, Mr. Matchstick.
Also, congrats, Troy.
On the Yellow Flash mention. Yeah. So
what?
Yeah. So it's kind of exciting, right? So I actually posted it on my community tab and on Twitter. Yellow Flash was doing a commentary on he went to a Twitter thread that Valiant Renegade had posted, and I made a comment about it, and so he featured it and talked about it on his channel. He talked about what the topic was that Valiant Renegade was talking about, and then he read my comment about it.
Wow.
And I was like, man, that's pretty cool. I'm kind of fired up about it. So I went to that video and I'm like, I got a mention on Yellow Flash, come subscribe to my channel. But
we have many interesting topics to talk about on Friday nights, you should say. Yeah, but
absolutely. But so yeah. And it was Auditor Dread who told me about it because I would have missed it otherwise. So
now I think I'm going to go play some Tetris. That's what I think I'm going to do now, maybe.
I'll tell you what, that's addictive game. Once you start, you just keep going.
The funny thing about Tetris is, like, all the real quote-unquote gamers, they'll say, I'm not going to play Tetris. Really, Tetris? Really? That's your favorite? And then they'll sit down and play Tetris, and it'll be 3 hours later. You know what I mean? So it doesn't matter who you are. You'll play Tetris. It is that addictive a game. All right, y'all. Y'all have a good night, and I will see you next week. Have a happy President's Day tomorrow. Do something nice for yourself if you have off, okay? Just relax.
Yeah.
There you go. All right. Y'all have a good week.
Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.